Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Seed Talk with Lisa and Layne. Hey Layne.
Hello, it's almost the end of October.
Oh my goodness, Thanksgiving will be here in a just another turn.
I
And
cannot
that
believe it.
means frost,
Oh,
frost. And
true.
the end to the garden, which is always just the saddest, but sometimes we're looking forward to it. So, friends, if this is your first time, we want to just give you a really warm welcome to Seed Talk, and home base to Seed Talk, and so many other resources is thegardenersworkshop.com. So, Layne, take it away. What's today?
All right, so today we're going to be continuing our Fall Flower Spotlight series. And in this series, as a reminder, we're featuring a different warm season plant every week that we love planting out specifically for fall blooms. And today we have such a good one. It's a flower that has these gorgeous, colorful, feathery plumes, and we are talking about Celosia. And if you're watching the video version of this podcast, you are looking at some beautiful pictures of Texas plumes Celosia.
Mm,
Why do you love Celosia, not
mm.
just in the summer, but as a fall crop, Lisa?
I mean, the colors just get so dadgum vibrant. And funny enough, so the Texas plumes, which we're looking at, I mean, we succession plant that. This is perhaps the most key essential ingredient for making bouquets. Um, and so we succession planted, and Bobo came to me just last week and said, Lisa, the first planting of Texas plumes is still producing amazing stems. The second planting has some pretty gorgeous stems. And now the third planting is looking great. Which one do I cut? I said, you cut them all, because if you don't cut them, they won't regrow, right? But it's just the point that this is such a productive, impactful plant. And there's a great story that goes along with it, but the Texas plume color group is just, it's great any time of the year, but it really pumps up the fall colors, wouldn't you say, Lane?
I would definitely agree. And I also wanted to recommend people check out episode 17 if they're interested in hearing more from Emily Neckel, who actually grew the Texas plume seed out for us. And she talks all about the process of growing for seed, saving the seed, and then processing the seed. So that's episode 17. But I totally agree with you, Lisa. I just love the colors. They instantly fill up any bouquet and they just look
Yeah.
so stunning in the garden. And we were just talking before we were recording about how these are just such a favorite of so many insects, including wasps, which is a good
Yeah.
thing.
Yes. I mean, the pollinator family is just so reliant in my garden. They sleep in these blooms, the
Yes.
bumblebees and other native bees. And it's just, these blooms are essential to all of us. I remember Pamela and Frank Arnowski, who are the original flower farmers. They are the Mick Jaggers, the rock stars of the flower farmer movement, and they're in Texas. And Frank actually shared, he spent like 30 years selecting his Celosia mixes because he said, the Celosias, I mean, they sell thousands of bouquets or make thousands of bouquets every week for supermarkets. How essential this type of flower is to actual their bouquet program. And then he brought some of this seed mix to that same research silent auction where I got the rooster peppers from. I mean,
Oh,
that was
wow.
back. You just get the best stuff. I mean, people bring stuff there that you can't get anywhere else, right? And literally, the seed was sold for $10,000. And then because it's a donation to, charity basically is what you're doing. But then that grower split it up and sold little small portions to different flower farmers, and I was one of them. And then we were able to grow it out and kind of make it our own. And then Emily grew it into proportions that we could actually share it and make it available. And I agree with Frank. If you are making weekly bouquets, this is a mix that you just can't do without. And I grow all the plumes. They're all amazing. This is the most diverse, tall, big, voluptuous, and great colors. I mean, from orange to yellow to white to hot pink to maroon. It's just killer. I love it.
I love it. And it's so prolific, like you mentioned, and it gets so tall if you let it.
Yes. And some of the other, I mean, I hear people mentioning it, like I love the Sunday series because there's orange in Sunday series that there is some oranges in the Texas, but no other Celosia has the straight orange like Sunday does. And if you haven't really perfected your Celosia growing, Sunday can be short. That doesn't have, Texas is so blooming tall that that's just not a problem. So it's a great starter, Celosia. And if you don't have much space, it's the one you want to grow.
So this was in demand for you all year during your growing
Yes.
season as a flower farmer, but specifically in the fall, you found it very helpful for filling out bouquets.
Sure, and in demand with florists, and of course, this means that you have perfected your harvesting stage. You harvest before they start making seed, before they start looking dirty. And again, the more you cut them, the more they come. And if like what Bobo was faced with, she knew that potentially there wasn't somewhere for all those flowers to go. That doesn't really matter. You don't just cut flowers that have a place to go. You have to cut all the flowers that are ready in the garden, or next week you're going to have old flowers. And Celosia is not very forgiving about that.
Yeah, and if you do let the heads go to seed, you could end up having a lot of sprouts in the ground the next
Yeah,
year that you may or
yeah,
may not want there. So that's another reason
right.
to keep them trimmed.
Yes, I mean, and it can become, as any reseeding annual could become a weed if you allow it. But that's the point of being a flower farmer, right? Is we're not supposed to be leaving blooms in the garden. But yeah, it's just the picture you have up is just so beautiful. I love it.
So you mentioned, obviously, we've been talking about the Texas plumes, and you mentioned some of the Sunday series. Are there any other celosias that you just love, particularly for the fall?
So what we have else growing out in the garden right now is sylphid, which is I mean, a big plume. That's, I don't even know how to, it starts out kind of pale, 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 pale yellow white, gets a little greeny. And that's just so universal. I mean, that's one you could, I mean, I had customers that would buy that every week that we had it. It didn't really depend on the color, right? And then also another real favorite that I love, and particularly because of its uniform habit, is Selway. Selway
Yes.
terracotta and salmon I actually just posted, I mean, I post images from all these celosias so frequently because they're just so beautiful out in the garden. But Selway terracotta is particularly suited for fall.
It is, and it just has that really sophisticated color tone that I feel like is so in demand these days.
Yes, yes, I agree with that. In Celosia, again, we plant it on every succession, but we just maybe go heavier in the fall on specific colors. But of course, Texas is a mix. So we just know that we want a lot of Texas. I loved making just Celosia bouquets in the fall.
Yes.
And they're just really, really pretty. We soil block them in the small block and they just hit the ground running out in the garden. And I love it that if we don't use all the blooms and we want to leave them, the pollinators make the most out of it.
All right, well, that does it for this Celosia episode. Again, be sure to check back with us next week because we have another flower, or should I say crop, coming your way next week in our Fall Flower
Ooh.
Spotlight series. And thank you so much for joining us again. And please be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're watching or listening.
So, friends, until we meet again, ciao.
Bye.